Hello fellow hunters! In the last video, I talked about some of the best light bowgun builds for Monster Hunter Rise, so I had to touch on their counterparts in this one, the heavy bowguns. They globally work the same as LBGs except they deal a bit more damage, you can charge your shots and you can also guard. This comes at the price of mobility. You're way slower to do basically anything. And I'm gonna be straight to the point, but unfortunately the trade is not that good of a deal. HBGs are not in a super great place right now, mostly because LBGs exist. And they are just more efficient, easier to play and have better DPS in most cases. But thankfully, the HBG is not complete garbage either, and still has domains where it outshines the LBG. So today I'm bringing you 4 HBG builds to deal some big heavy blows. And just a quick precision before anything, just like in the last video, I recommend to rather look at the core skills for each build and make your own builds with the charms you have. With the set builder I will link in the description, because you might not be able to recreate exactly my builds if you don't have similar charms. So for the first build, something HBG is notoriously good at: spread ammo. Just like for the LBG, we're gonna use the Magnum Halo weapon because it gives access to spread 3 while walking. And the skills we're gonna use are also similar to the spread LBG, of course with spread up, weakness exploit and crit boost. But this time we kinda have 2 different routes. Either go for attack 7 or for attack 4 and ballistics 2. Now like I said for the spread LBG, for me ballistics is mandatory and I feel like the range is really too short without it. So I went for the ballistics route, and I think for the average person that's what you would want to build. Now if you're an HBG veteran, you can probably do without it and max out attack boost instead. To be honest, I would still use the spread LBG over this because it will just make your life easier. But I guess if you can have the monster stun locked and just have to worry about bursting as much damage as you can, then this is a good alternative. And the good thing with spread, it works against the majority of the monsters. But where it really gets interesting with HBG is with true damage ammos, like stickies, cluster bombs or wyvern ammo. True damage means the damage is not affected by the hit zones. As long as your shot hits the monster, it will do its damage. All we care about is firepower, which HBG does have. The second build here is designed to stun monsters with stickies 3 to create openings for cluster bombs. So we're using the Tigrex HBG, which has a great row at the cost of a bit of negative affinity. And also you need to ramp it up with cluster effect so it unlocks cluster 3 and 3 ammo clips. So ideally we would want to get attack 7, unfortunately I can only get attack 6 with my charms, but this is good enough. And we want spare shot and ammo up, even though ammo up doesn't stack with the bonus ammo from the cluster ramp up, which is kinda sad. Then artillery and slugger for stickies. Again, I could only get slugger level 2 instead of level 3, but it's not extremely important. And also of course recoil down 3 and reload speed 3, as well as 2 levels of steadiness. So the idea is very simple: get knockdowns with stickies and make cluster bombs rain. Since you don't really care what you're hitting, you should be able to deal with pretty much anything. You're rather into explosions that deal hundreds of damage? Let me introduce you to this wyvern ammo build. For me, the wyvern ammo is probably the most satisfying ammo to use. There's nothing like blasting a monster with big numbers, and especially when once again is true damage, so it works against anything and anywhere. We're using the meteor cannon, which allows us to rapidly spam stickies and stun lock the monster, and for the skills it's pretty much the same build as the last one, except we can max out attack boost and slugger. Also don't forget to hit for Dongo Bombardier, it does affect wyvern ammo quite significantly. This build is really good to farm apex monsters and jewels. Now you're telling me you can decide between cluster and wyvern ammo? Why not do both? This next build was presented by SdShepard on his channel, the link will be in the description. And I tried to make it better but couldn't really figure out an upgrade. This build is using peak performance, so it's assuming you won't get hit. Then the rest of the skills are classic: attack boost, ammo up, spare shot, then all the skills to correct your bowgun's flaws. So in short, it's using the cat cannon, a weapon that has the particularity to be able to fire clusters in a regular horizontal shot rather than in arc shots, which makes it easier to use cluster bombs. And when the monster is down, whip out the wyvern ammo. It's as simple as that. This is almost more of a meme build, but actually quite good since you can cheese most of your hunts by shooting clusters from a distance. So that's it for the 4 builds I wanted to show, but I still wanted to touch down a bit on why I'm not talking about elemental HBGs. Well, it's quite simple, they are not super good. For pretty much any element, you'd rather use the LBG versions. The only reason you'd want to use elemental HBGs right now is if you're coordinating with your friends and someone is here to keep the monster stun locked. Otherwise, an LBG will do just about the same amount of damage, except it's so much more comfy to use and therefore your effective DPS will probably be higher. In case you really want to build around elemental ammos, here's what you should probably use. For fire, the Raknakadaki weapon. For ice, the Bayot one. For water, Mizutsune. And for thunder, I'm guessing Zinogre. So yeah, hopefully elemental HPGs will get better in the future. But anyway, I think that's it for this quick video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if this video helped you. And I'll see you very soon to cover some other weapons. Bye!